Have you ever wondered why something that feels so easy, so available, so no strings attached, often ends up costing more than you expected? Why does free sex feel exciting at first, but quietly drains older men over time? And why do men with the most life experience often pay the highest hidden price for it? Most men are taught one simple lie. If sex doesn't cost money, commitment, or effort, then it's free. No dates, no responsibility, no emotional investment. Just pleasure. But psychology tells a very different story. Here's the uncomfortable truth most older men discover too late. Sex is never free. The bill just arrives later. When you're younger, your body absorbs costs easily. Hormones are high, recovery is fast, emotional detachment feels natural. But as a man ages, the same behaviors create very different consequences. And those consequences are not imaginary. They are biological, psychological, social. And they compound quietly. Let's start with the brain. Sex is not just a physical act. It's a neurochemical event. Every sexual encounter releases dopamine, oxytocin, and vasopressin. Dopamine trains the brain to chase the reward. Oxytocin creates bonding and emotional imprinting. Vasopressin reinforces attachment and territorial feelings, especially in men. You can tell yourself it's casual. You can say you don't care. But your nervous system doesn't speak language. It speaks chemistry. For older men, this matters more than ever. With age, baseline dopamine levels decrease. That means the brain becomes more sensitive to dopamine spikes. So what happens? Sex feels more addictive, more mentally sticky, harder to forget. What felt like just fun starts occupying mental space. You replay moments. You crave repetition. You lose emotional neutrality. And now something that was supposed to be free is costing attention. Attention is energy. Energy is life. Psychological research consistently shows that men who engage in frequent low-investment sexual encounters experience reduced long-term satisfaction and increased emotional volatility, especially after midlife. Why? Because novelty without meaning eventually exhausts the reward system. Think of it like sugar. A little gives pleasure. Too much without nutrition leads to crashes, cravings, and dependency. Older men don't crash physically first. They crash mentally. Motivation drops. Focus weakens. Goals feel less compelling. You don't notice it immediately. You just feel flatter. Now let's talk about status and self-respect. Free sex often isn't free because of what it demands psychologically. To access it, men often lower standards. They tolerate disrespect. They accept ambiguity. They play roles they wouldn't accept in other areas of life. And every time a man compromises his boundaries for access, his self-perception shifts. The brain keeps score. When you repeatedly trade dignity for pleasure, your subconscious learns something dangerous. I am not valuable enough to require respect. That belief doesn't stay in the bedroom. It leaks into work, into leadership, into confidence. Older men are especially vulnerable here because identity is more fixed. Every repeated behavior reinforces self-concept. Young men experiment. Older men solidify. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are. Now let's talk about emotional debt. Free sex often comes without emotional clarity. No labels. No direction. No future. That ambiguity creates a low-level psychological tension. The brain hates unresolved patterns. You start wondering where you stand, what she feels, who else is involved. Even if you don't ask the questions out loud, your nervous system does. And unresolved emotional loops increase cortisol. Higher cortisol over time leads to poorer sleep, increased anxiety, reduced testosterone, and impaired emotional regulation. Yes, even casual sex can lower testosterone when it creates stress rather than safety. And older men feel this faster. Now consider opportunity cost. Every sexual pursuit consumes time, mental bandwidth, and emotional energy. Late-night texts, recovery days, disrupted routines. You may not notice it, but your discipline erodes slightly each time. That workout skipped. That early morning delayed. That goal postponed. Free sex doesn't steal your life all at once. It steals it in minutes. Minutes add up to hours. Hours add up to years. And here's the part no one likes to say out loud. Free sex often comes from women who are also seeking something. Validation, security, attention, emotional relief. Even if they say they want nothing, the dynamic creates an invisible contract. And when expectations eventually clash, the man pays emotionally. Conflict, drama, guilt, reputation damage. Older men have more to lose. Social standing, professional image, family dynamics. One messy situation can undo decades of credibility. That's not free. That's expensive. Now let's address loneliness. Ironically, free sex increases loneliness in older men. Why? Because repeated shallow intimacy trains the brain to associate closeness with impermanence. You touch without bonding. You connect without continuity. Over time, emotional depth becomes harder. Real intimacy feels unfamiliar. Vulnerability feels risky. Men then report feeling isolated despite frequent sexual access. The body is satisfied. The soul is underfed. Psychologists call this attachment erosion. The ability to form stable emotional bonds weakens with repeated detachment. And rebuilding it later is harder. Much harder. Now let's talk about identity aging. Older men often chase free sex not out of desire, but out of fear. Fear of invisibility. Fear of aging. Fear of losing sexual relevance. Each encounter becomes proof. I still have it. But that validation is borrowed, not earned. It fades as quickly as it arrives. And the more you need it, the less powerful you feel without it. True confidence grows from alignment, not approval. Now here's the paradox. Men who stop chasing free sex often become more attractive. Why? Because their energy stabilizes. Their boundaries strengthen. Their presence deepens. They no longer leak attention. They invest it. And that creates something far more rare than sexual availability. Respect. Free sex isn't free because it costs clarity. It blurs priorities. It weakens direction. It numbs dissatisfaction instead of resolving it. Older men don't need more pleasure. They need more purpose. And purpose doesn't coexist well with constant distraction. This doesn't mean sex is bad. It means unearned intimacy is costly. The most fulfilled older men aren't abstinent. They're selective. They choose connection that reinforces their values, not erodes them. They understand a simple truth. Anything that feels free, but drains you later was never free to begin with. So the question isn't whether you can get sex without paying up front. The question is this: what are you paying afterward? With your focus, your peace, your self-respect, your future. Because in the end, the most expensive things in life rarely ask for money. They ask for you.